Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And in this lecture, we will first start with learning how can we set up a Python project on our device. So I'm going to share my screen first. Yeah. So let us search for a Python project online. So if suppose we have to create a game, let's say we want to create a snake game through Python coding. So this is how we can, search for the code on the internet. Snake game Python, and let's start with a simple, Python game. So there are a number of websites where you can find the relevant code. Let us go with the first one for now. And okay, so this is the whole code, right? So what I'm doing is I'm copying the whole code like this. Fine, I'm copying the whole code, and then let us open VS Code and paste the copied code in that. So the first thing we have to do here before copying the code is we need to create a new file. So new file, and then we can go with the Python file, right? If you're not able to find this option in your VS Code, so what you can do, you can simply click new window. So it will open for you a new window of VS Code, and here you can simply press Ctrl and N keys together for creating a new file. So it will be an untitled file, okay, where you can paste the code by pressing Ctrl and V keys together. And because it's a Python code, right, so we have to save this file with a unique name, and at the end we need to put .py as an extension, right? So as to tell the OS that it's a Python code present in this file. So after pasting the code, we need to press Ctrl and S keys together. Okay, and then we can select the location where we want to save the code. So for now, I'm going to save it in the download section, and it is with name snake.py. Okay, so I have copied the code, successfully pasted it, and saved it in the Python file named snake.py. Right, and let me just share the link in the description, in the chat box with you guys. Give me a moment. So this is the link of the website from where I picked up the code. Okay. Now, let us first try to understand the whole code line by line. So because Python is an interpreted language, so how it interprets the code and then how it executes the code line by line, that's what I'm going to tell you. So the first line here says import py game, right? Import pygame. So what does this import do for us in the Python code? It is basically used for importing a library, and if there is a library present in your uh, system and you want to use it for creating something, so this is how you can do it. You need to first bring it inside your code. Now what is a library? Library is basically a type of collection. right? And it has number of functions present in it with which you can create a specific thing. So for everything there is some or the other specific library that you can use for creating that particular thing. For example, in schools what happens, we have different types of labs. So there is a chemistry lab in which we do the chemistry experiments. There is physics lab in which we perform the physics related experiments. There is mathematics lab also in which you do your maths related activities and so on. Similarly, here also we have different types of labs which we call as libraries. Okay, now Pygame is one of the libraries with which you can create games. Okay, Pygame is a Python library with which you can create games. How it helps you to create games? It contains different types of functions. Okay, so functions you can consider as tools with which you can create something, right? So it contains different types of functions with which using which you can create some very amazing games. Okay, so if you have to create 2D games, then this is one of the best libraries that you can use for doing the same. Now, if you want to do some calculations which is related to timings or time, so this is the library with which you can do it. If suppose you want to generate some random numbers, okay, suppose if I ask you to generate random numbers which lies between 2 to 3.7, so this is the library with which you can do it. It has a function named rand int, okay, with which you can generate random integers. So whatever libraries you want to use for creating something, right, that you're trying to do, so the first thing you have to do is you have to import all the libraries, and this is how you can do it. So remember the syntax of importing the library: import and then the name of the library needs to be defined. Then we need to initiate pygame. In it here is going to initiate it. Initiate means it is going to give it a start. Okay, like the way you when you start the scooter or your car, what happens, you put in the key and then you just trigger it. Okay, so as to start your car or your scooter or scooty. Same thing happens here also. So if you want to initiate pygame, if you want to use pygame, you'll have to start it. So this is the function with the help of which you can do it. So pygame.init. Then white is equals to 255 So what is this? Basically, it's a color code. Okay, now a color code has three things: R, G, and B, red, green, and blue. Any color can be made with the help of the combination of three colors, that is red, blue, and green. So what should be the intensity of red color? 255. What should be the value of blue? What should be the value of green? It should also be 255. And then what should be the value of uh, blue? That is 255 over here. So if we have 255 for all the three things, it means that it will give us a white color. Now, if you want to get a yellow color, you can decrease the value of blue, you will get a yellow color. Similarly, for black, we have 000. Let me see if we have anyone waiting outside the waiting room. Yeah. Okay. And now, if you want to get a red color, so for that, we can, have this color code value. So similarly, you can define the green color value, you can define the blue color value also. Okay, so we are going with these six different types of colors. Then we have something called width and height. So what should be the dimension of the board on which we'll ask the user to play the game, or we would like the user to play the game. So these are the dimensions of that board on which the snake is going to move. Okay, so everything you need to plan everything. Okay, now after that comes pygame.display.set mode. Fine. Now here, as you can see, after set mode, we have used these brackets. So as I've told you in the previous lectures, whenever you put round brackets in front of, just next to any name or number, it becomes a function. Python interprets it as a function. So what are we doing here? We are setting the display of pygame. Okay, now there is a function named display inside the library named pygame, and this is a way you can access it. Fine. Now inside display we have another function named set mode, and that's the way you can access it. So it's known as dot method. Okay, it is called as dot method, with which you can access the functions present in a library. Let me just give you another example. Suppose you have a library with name Gaurav. Okay, and there is a method or function present inside this library named G1 that you want to access for creating something. How you can do it? So you'll have to first write the name of the library, and then you can write the name of the function like this, and simply put these brackets. Now there can be two types of there are two types of functions: parameterized and non-parameterized. Now if you are putting something like this, if you're passing some values to the function, it means that it's a parameterized function. Okay, and if you are simply calling the function like this without passing any value, so it will be a non-parameterized function. Okay, what is the spelling of non-parameterized? It is this. Okay, so there are two types of functions: parameterized and non-parameterized. This is the way you can access the function, and then if it is a parameterized function, you can pass some parameters to it. If it is a non-parameterized function, simply you don't have to pass anything in the brackets. Simply you can call it like this, the way I have done it here. So set mode is a parameterized function. That is the reason we have passed the width and height to it as the parameters. Then what should be the caption? What do you want to see written as a title on the top of the board? So it should be Snake Game Edureka, or you can change it to something else also. Snake Game by, let me just change it to Gaurav for now. So there is this function named set caption I have made use of for setting the caption of the display. Display here refers to that window on which the user will play the game. Then clock, again there is a function named time present in pygame with which we can set the clock. So basically it refers to it is for setting the speed with which you want to play the game. So you can control the speed with the help of this function. Then we have two more variables, one with name snake block and the other with name snake speed. So from the name itself, it is clear that this is going to, with this we can control the number of blocks this snake is going to have, right? And then with this variable, we can control the speed of the snake. Okay. Then we have font style and score font. So there is a function named font, or you can say there is a class named font present in which there is a function named sysfont with which you can control the font style. And these two are for styling the font of that, uh, what we call it, for styling the font of that text with which the score is going to come on the board, right? Text of the score, font of the text of the score. So you can control that with the help of these two variables. After that, we have defined a function named your score. right? So it's a customized function. There are two types of functions. Again, customized, non-customized, or you can say customized and default. So if you are accessing a function present in a library, it is known as, it falls in the category of default functions, right? It is already present in the library, so you are not creating it on your own. But when you create a function using this keyword named def, okay, so it is a customized function. Why it's a customized function? Because you are creating it and you can customize it according to your requirements. Fine. Now, this is a customized parameterized function. Why am I calling it as a customized parameterized function? Because we have used def here. Def means defining or definition. Okay, so we have we are defining a function. We have defined a function named your score, and inside it we have passed a parameter. So that is the reason I'm calling it as a parameterized customized function, or you can also call it as customized parameterized function. Okay, so value is, so there is a variable named value, and we are initializing it with score dot font, score underscore font dot render your score, then this, then this. So this is the value which we are passing as a score font value to this variable named value. You may be finding it a little bit complicated, but the only thing that I want to make you understand, or that you have to pick up from here, is what are functions, what are different types of functions, and how can you define it in Python. That's the only thing you have to pick up from here. Okay, nothing else. You know I'll explain it to you a bit more maybe in the next lecture, but for now it's just the functions and how we can define functions in Python code. That's the only thing you have to understand. Now similarly, we have defined other functions also in this code. So there is a function named rSnake, which is again a parameterized function. There is a function named message, which we have defined in this code. Then there is a function game loop, which we have defined, right? And then what else? Okay, that's it, right? Now, which out of these is the main function? So if suppose there are 5 functions you have defined in your code, and in the fifth one or in the third one you are calling all the functions, or you're calling one function in some other function, so that is going to behave as a parent function or the main function, right? Let me just show it to you practically. So there is this function named your score. This is the first function we have created. Then there is a function named rSnake that we have created. Then there is a function named message that we have created. And then there is a function named game loop, okay, which is again a customized function. Now inside game loop, let us see if we have used any function or not. So as you can see here, inside game loop there is a while loop that we have defined. While not game over, जब तक गेम ओवर नहीं होगा, दैट्स व्हाट इट ट्रांसलेट्स इट इन हिंदी, राइट? जब तक गेम ओवर नहीं होगा, व्हाट शुड हैपन? while game close is equal to true. ओके, जब तक गेम क्लोज की वैल्यू ट्रू है, ठीक है, तब तक क्या हो, मैसेज. सो we have called this function that we have created. It's a customized function that we have created over here inside this game loop function. Fine. So this is the way you can call a function inside a function. So what we have done, we have created 3 functions: your score, rSnake, and message, out of which we have called this message named function over here. Fine, so this is the way you can call a function. Let me just give you a very good example over here. So let's say you have created a function with your name Abhinav. So you can use any name for defining a function, for defining a customized function. And here you have, it's a parameterized function. Then here you've used a variable. Okay, so that's the function you have created using def keyword. Now again you have created a function named school, and you want to use the above function inside this. So how you will do that? You can simply do it like this. Simply write the name of the function. Okay, now here as you can see, it's a parameterized function. So while calling the function, you also will have to pass the value for this variable 5. So what the interpreter will do, it will never read this function because it's not the main function. So when it will come to this function, it will go inside it and it will see that there is a function named Abhinav. So it will start looking for this function for in the entire code. Once it finds the function, it will assign this value to this variable named score, and then it will come down inside the Abhinav named function and it will calculate the value of A. So score's value is 5, score value is 5, so 5 plus 5 is 10. It will calculate the final value and assign it to A. So the final value of A will be 10. So this is how the interpreter reads and executes the functions. Fine, and that's what is happening here also. So we have used this message named function inside the game loop, and then we have used the other function which is your score also inside this game loop. Okay, then coming down, what is this append? See, it is also a function, but it's a default function of Python. So basically, if you have, let's say, 3 or 4 items and you want to append it or add it to a particular list, so this is a function that you can use for doing the same. Now, from where did this function came? So as I've told you in the previous lecture, if you will see, I've told you about 3 to 4 different types of objects, right, which you can create in Python. So list is one of the objects in which you can store different types of items. So here as you can see, there is a list of fruits in which we have 3 different items: apple, banana and cherry. Now if we have to add orange to this list, this is a function that we can make use of. So what is going to happen when we'll execute this code? Automatically orange will be added to the list named fruits and the final result will look like this. Okay, so append is to add an item to an existing list. I hope this much is clear to you guys. Fine, let's come back on the code. Fine, so this is what I wanted to explain to you. Now we've already copied the code, we have saved it in a Python file, right? And now it's time for us to execute it and check if we will get the output or not. So for that, we'll have to come here on view and we'll have to open the terminal. Now first of all, we'll have to cd into the directory, or you can say folder, in which this Python code or Python file exists. So how can we do that? We can right click and then we can copy the path of the file. This is the one, cd, and then let's uh, remove the snake.py file in which our code exists. Let's just cd into this directory named downloads, in which the Python file is present. So I'm there inside the directory. It's time for me to execute the code present in the file. So for that I can write python and then snake.py. Okay, let's execute the code and see if we'll get the output or not. So as you can see, we have a window, right, with caption snake game by edureka, and currently the score is 0. Let me start the game so we can do it with the help of you know the direction keys. So the snake is currently active, it's running. Let me check if I can eat the food. Yes. So the moment snake hits the green food, automatically its size increases, right? That's what is happening. And you can see the score also increasing. Okay, so once the snake hits any of these boundaries, automatically you get to see this message: you lost, press C to play again, or Q for quit. So let's press C first. Okay, let's play this game again, and if I press Q, so this is how you can close the window, right? So now if you are not getting this output and you are getting some error message, so it will be because of these libraries. So with python, random and time, these are the two libraries which comes by default. But talking about this pygame, you'll have to install it, right? How you can install this library pygame? Let me see if we have some other person waiting outside the room. Yeah. So we have Mr. Ashish Ashwini. Okay. Now if you have to install a library in Python, how you can do it? Suppose if you have to install Pygame, so the best way is to check the command with which you can install the library. Simply type pip command to install, and after that the name of the library. So because I want to install pygame, right, so I've written pip command to install pygame. And then if you'll come here, Ashishji, can you please put yourself on mute? You're on mute right now. Can you please put yourself on mute? Yeah, thank you. So this is the command by which you can install the pygame named library. Simply copy this command and come on VS Code, and here you can paste the command and execute the enter button. Because I already have this library on my device, that is the reason it is showing me this message: requirement already satisfied. But if this library is not on your device, what it will do, it will start copying the library from the internet, and also it will install the library on your device once it is done with copying everything of the library on your device. How it happens, let me just show you that also. So for that, I'll have to uninstall the library first. This is the way we can do it. So install will change to uninstall now, right? Okay. So it is asking me whether I want to really uninstall the library from my device or not. So I've passed yes for now, and as you can see, it says successfully uninstalled pygame. So I've successfully uninstalled pygame. It's time for me to install it. So pip install pygame. Now what is this pip here? Pip is the package manager. Package is nothing but a library. Okay, so if suppose there are 90 or 100 libraries installed on your device, we need something, your device needs something with the help of which these libraries can be maintained. Okay, so what happens if suppose you have pygame 2.1 on your device, and the developers of pygame tomorrow releases another version, uh, 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 upgrades pygame to a newer version. So pip will tell you about it, that now an upgraded version of pygame is available, you can install it. So this is how it manages it. Okay, so pip install pygame. Install is for installing a library, and then comes the name of the library. Enter, and now it will install for me the Pygame library on my device. So it is a time consuming process when it comes to heavy libraries. But if the libraries are of less GBs or less MBs, it will not take time. It doesn't take much time. So what it is doing right now, it is contacting the server of the website of on which the official website is running, right? Website on which the Pygame library is present. So it is contacting that server. Once it gets the go ahead, the once the server allows my device to install the library, what it will do, it will start copying the package from that website, and it will bring it on, it will bring it somewhere on in the downloads or the Python section, and then it will install the library. So as you can see, now it says collecting Pygame. So it is bringing the Pygame from the internet. Fine. Once it is done with collecting all the information related to Pygame, it will start installing it. So you'll have to wait for some time, and now the download is happening. Okay, so the download is successful and it is now installing the collected packages. Fine, so I've successfully installed Pygame. It's time for me to run the game. So again, I will use the same command, python snake.py, and see, I'm getting the output. Okay, so this is how you can install a library. This is how you can set up a game on your device. Fine, and this is the way you need to deal with the functions. So there are 3 to 4 types of functions, as I've told you: parameterized, non-parameterized. Then there are default functions, customized functions. Then there are customized parameterized functions, customized non-parameterized functions. If you want to learn more about it, I would request you to refer to W3 Schools websites, and you can simply type W3 Schools functions Python or Python functions. So here you can check out various types of Python functions. You can practice them on your own by creating a Python file and then putting the functions in that and execute those functions and check out the output. Right, so this is it from my side in this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care everyone, and hope you have a good day.